What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stupid Movies, where we watch stupid movies so you don't have to. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, my sister Daphne.
What's up?
And this week, we're going to be talking about Arrival, which is a popular sci fi movie. Now, this isn't my first time watching it, it's my second time watching this movie. First time I watched it, I didn't dislike it, I would say. I had no desire to rewatch it until you mentioned that we'll be watching Arrival.
Well, I chose it because I know it's a very popular movie.
Mm-hmm.
And since it had just popped back up on streaming, I thought it would be the perfect time to watch the movie. I have also seen it one time before. The first time I watched it, I was very bored.
I would say that's the word for this movie. It's boring. It's a boring movie.
It's so boring. And that last half hour of the reveal or twist or whatever you want to call it does not make up for the first hour and a half of boringness.
I would give it to them. Hey, I'm not going to go in a linear fashion with this movie.
No,
well, which is fair enough. Hey, yes. So because time is a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's happening at once or something like that.
Yes.
If you're a fourth dimensional being. I'm sorry. So what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's boring. It's boring. Now I don't think it's badly written. I think some of the writing it's like, okay, I get where they're going with it. You know, I watch some movies and I go, that's just stupid, right? Mm-hmm. There was none of that in this. Mm-hmm. You know, I just watched the Minecraft movie, so my brain is melted by the stupidity.
God, that looked dumb in the trailers. Did your kid like it?
Oh, they loved it. I'm gonna say it's like the Spy Kids of this generation.
We might have to revisit Spy. Maybe Spy Kids is probably not that bad. It looks horrible. But
Are you sure? No, my kids have watched Spy Kids. It's stupid.
Oh, okay. So you've seen Spy Kids recently.
Yeah. Where it's kind of like the movie where there's no effort put into the story. And kids just like it because it's colorful and things are happening.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Unlike, like Pixar's Up or something.
Right, okay. Okay.
But yes. So like writing, I can get where people are coming from. Like the writing's fine. It's not interesting. You know what I would have been interested in? Like a 30-minute YouTube video about like how we would communicate with aliens. That's what I felt like this falls into as far as my interest goes. And I watch a lot of those videos, guys. So I'm not saying that's bad. 2-hour movie? Not really.
Yeah, this movie could have been about a half an hour shorter. Like we spent the first hour and a half just with them trying to figure out how to talk to the aliens, and none of it was really profound or groundbreaking. It was like you said, it's like I don't have any really faults with the movie besides it's just boring to me. Like there was no like giant plot holes like why'd you do this or this and this and that. It was just like I'm watching it and I'm like, this is not interesting. At no point did I really care if you ever figured out how to talk to these things.
Yeah, no, besides the governments being dumb, which is what governments do. So
yeah, it's like I want to nitpick that, but I'm like, if these last few years have taught us anything, it's like the worst option is probably the option they're going to choose.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like I don't even know if I can complain about that.
we can't. So I guess my question to you is what would you do if aliens arrive like this? Mm-hmm. Now, my first thought about aliens coming to Earth is I don't think it would be good because if you can travel between stars, so interstellar travel, and we're talking about far because you got to have a sustainable life. I don't know. If you're coming to another planet with life on it, probably not for a good reason.
Well, generally, when people come from faraway lands to a new land, it usually doesn't end well for the people that already live there.
They mentioned that in this movie.
No.
Yes.
It generally doesn't. So, if a mysterious ship just sat above Ohio And they're like, we don't know what's happening. And granted, the government could have did a better job of communicating and, not having people trip, as we have learned.
Yes.
That is going to happen regardless. People are going to use their platforms to spread false information because they can.
Yeah.
I personally, I would be prepared, but I would wait and see. You know what I mean?
Oh, I definitely don't say don't attack first.
No, I'm really surprised that's not a thing that happened, that they didn't start, let's shoot it, because I feel like that is always...
if they can make it a year, I always, this is my problem with sci-fi movies. Now, not this one. Obviously, I think they approached this correctly. Wow, we're giving this movie praise while we started off by saying it's boring. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I think this movie did approach that correctly because oftentimes you see in sci-fi, the humans, we're going to fight the aliens, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if they can make it to our planet, I'm pretty sure their technology is leagues beyond ours.
Yeah, that, and when you start shooting at things, you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it has a shield, and whatever you threw at it is going to come right back on top of you.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's filled with bombs, and when you shoot at it, you just created a nuclear disaster.
That too. Yeah.
So I am glad that their first option was, let's shoot it.
Yeah.
And instead it was like, let's find out why it's here, and then we'll shoot it.
True. Also, stupid governments, you're all working together as you should, and then as soon as someone gets spooked by something, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna stop communicating with each other. And I don't know, when we're humans learn, and I know there's probably some people listening that disagrees with this, but honestly, we kind of do better when we work together.
Agreed. I don't know, is there any disagreement with we're better when we communicate and work well together? That is how the world is advanced where it was, because we share our knowledge with each other.
Yeah, the internet has caused technology to just explode.
Well, that and just even basic knowledge. I like being able to have a problem I don't know how to solve. And there would be an engineering forum that says, what about this or what about that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
Which is great. Someone else who done it before can help me with it. And like you said, that was probably one nitpick I wanted to keep, was the minute, like you said, the minute they got spooked and they said weapon, oh my gosh. And then it was like, well, we don't know what this means, we're gonna stop communicating. I'm like, this is when you should communicate more. It didn't make any sense why everyone said, well, we're now gonna stop sharing information. And I'm like, okay, these different countries are finally making breakthroughs. We need to be sharing these breakthroughs. Not, we're not talking anymore, let's shoot it. That didn't make any sense.
But like I said, it's believable. It's believable. And the odd thing enough is that the aliens were trying to get the humans to work together, right? Because they needed them to work together, because for some reason something happens in the future, now, present, past, whatever, because time is not a thing.
Yeah. It would have been
They needed the humans' help.
Oops. It would have been nice. At least I was thinking, I don't know, do I want to know what happens? And I feel like it'd have been better if I knew what happened in the future.
I think it's just the whole focus of the movie is not the aliens, it's just Amy Adams' character.
I know, but it might have been more interesting if I saw the apocalypse that the humans helped the aliens with or something.
True. Yeah.
Because now it's just nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah. Also, is she the only one? I mean, I guess it's a good thing she's the only one. No, wait. I think the Chinese general might. Maybe? No.
I think no, she was just using her power to go into the future to figure out what to say in the present in order to stop them from shooting it.
Okay.
So the reason is, and that was one of my questions too, I think she's the only one that has that ability because she was the only one to be able to fully learn their language. So that's why she was the only one that can do it.
Right.
But I'm guessing is that as people learn the language, everyone would have that power.
Yeah, but the people aren't learning that language, though.
Well, remember, she has the book.
Yeah.
And then she's in the university teaching the language to her students.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. I don't want it.
No. You're living every part of your life at once. That sounds horrible, and it sounds like your brain would explode.
Well, remember when she first got there, that one guy got carted out because it's everyone couldn't handle it. So I feel like he saw some things and was like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. The thing is, it's okay. because we're getting all scientific in this. And okay, you guys are going to disagree with us hard because we're going to be talking about all this stuff from this movie, and this what they're going to point out in the comics, Daphne. They're going to be like, see, that's what we were talking about. How good the movie is because we're pointing out all these different aspects of the movie, but that doesn't change the fact that it was boring to watch.
Right, I feel like there's good points to this movie, but at the same time, I was not entertained.
Yes,
and that's all that matters.
Yeah. So, okay, so in order for them to perceive time all at once, that means they have to be in the fourth dimension. That's kind of how that works. Oddly enough, which is weird, I had to dumb this down and explain it to my 8-year-old. I didn't have to, but I'm just that kind of person.
Did you watch this movie with him?
No, he asked me if it was possible for us to make time machines, and I told him I
just say no and move on.
Nope. I explained to him why, and then I used a dumbed down version using 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions to understand why it's hard for us to control something past that.
Did it work?
Sort of.
Because I feel like this sounds like the conversation I had with him about why sharks don't live in the lake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I spent 5 minutes explaining this, and you said it was a beach. I was like, well, okay, forget you. Go away.
Well, how old was he then? He's 9 now.
5.
Okay, see, there's a big difference.
Hey, I thought I gave a nice, simple little explanation between oceans and lakes. And he was just like, girl, nah.
It's a beach, though.
It's a beach.
Yeah, you're talking about a 5-year-old. Now, you got to think, now my daughter's 5. So now you got to think about that person. Yeah.
I'm not even going to attempt that conversation with her. No, thank you.
That's funny. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think people would be able to handle perceiving all time, all at once.
Well, your life usually end kind of badly, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe it ended peacefully. We didn't see the end of her life because she's focused on, understandably, the death of her daughter. Yeah,
maybe she dies of old age in her sleep or something. I don't know. But I don't want to see my death coming. So for me, no matter if I die when I'm 95 in my sleep, I don't want to know that. I don't want to see it coming. I don't want to know anything about my death.
Yeah. And then how do you live if it's like, I don't know, I could be looking at the time when I'm 60 and then be looking at the time when I'm 17 tomorrow. Like, I don't know, how does that work?
Yeah, so I get is like the aliens need us to learn their language to help them in the future. At the same time is I don't want to know my future. And nor do I want to live my future as I'm currently living my present.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
What is the present? See, this is why people end up liking the movie, because now you get all philosophical, right? What is the present at this point? Because first time I watched it, I didn't know until the end. Mm-hmm. I thought she was remembering a daughter that she had and who had died already, because Amy Adams looks the same throughout the entire movie.
And she was sad at the beginning of the movie, but maybe she's just a sad person.
Right. So, like, I thought that, her daughter died and her husband left her, and then the aliens came. But it turned out this was the future, and she was seeing her future because she was understanding the language. Which, I mean, look, for a first-time twist, I was like, oh, wow, unexpected. Does not change the fact that it was boring, though, guys.
Agree. Like, when I saw the twist, I was like, oh, okay. And to me, I was like, that made the movie pay off. However, did not enjoy it.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like up until that point, I was like, I don't like this movie. I don't know why I'm still because I was at home, so I could have turned it off at any point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know why I'm still watching this. And at the end, it's just like, oh, okay, all right, you brought it full circle.
Yeah.
It still didn't make it worthwhile for me.
Yeah. Like I said, first time I watched it, I wasn't upset that I watched it, but
I was.
I didn't want to watch it again.
I was upset that I watched it.
So I want to talk about Jeremy Renner's character, and essentially the question that we ask is, are you upset? that the person you married, one, knew that you guys would be married and knew that your child would die in a pretty bad way.
Which is why he left her, right? Because he's saying you made the wrong choice. Like, she could have not had a child.
She could have. Now, I'm not angry with Amy Adams because I feel like this is difficult. Because if you tell me before I know my children, right? So I have to. If you tell me before, like, hey, if you have this kid, they're going to die a gruesome death, maybe easier for me to say, like, okay. But since her character has lived caring for her daughter before she even had her daughter, right? I don't know. If you ask me that about my children now, I can't say that I wouldn't have my children.
I understand that because she values the time she has with her daughter, even though she knows it's going to end, is better than not having her daughter at all.
Yeah.
So I understand that choice. Maybe she allows Jeremy Renner to make that choice.
True. Maybe tell him before.
Yeah. So you let him go through it, and then only later, maybe 4 years before the girl gets sick? Because she dies when she's 12.
Yeah.
And I think the most of the time we see her, she's probably about 8.
Yeah.
You tell him around then. So now he knows I only have 4 years left with my kid. Now he's looking at it as a doomsday clock. Yeah. Every time he sees his kid, he's looking, knowing that you're going to get sick and you're going to die.
Right. And that's why...
That's unfair to him.
That's why I don't have a grievance with his character either. Because he doesn't have that same ability. He can't see the future and present, past, whatever. He can't see that. So, like you said, to him, now it's just a clock on this, and he was like, I could have made the decision not to have a child so they wouldn't have to suffer and they wouldn't have to go through this. Right? So it's kind of tough on both ends because, like, she already has had that love of her child. And look, if you're a parent, I don't know how you're going to give that up. Even knowing that she passes away at 12, but then on Jeremy Renner's side, I could have not put this kid through this.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a choice, and it's hard when it's like you knew what was going to happen, you kept him in the dark, and now you tell him honestly, she was better off not telling him. But then he would have been like,
he would have found out because he knows.
He would know that she knows. Yeah. I think the biggest problem is that you didn't give him a choice. Which is unfair to him because honestly, in that entire thing, we never see him. She could have had the kid with anybody else. Right? If he decides not to go through with it, he doesn't want to suffer through the loss of a child. She could have a kid with someone else.
It wouldn't be that kid, and maybe they won't be sick.
Maybe. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really unfair to him. Like, I understand his point.
Yeah.
And I understand why she did it anyways.
Yeah.
But it's really unfair to him.
Yeah. So I think this is where everyone kind of goes on how profound the movie is. And to me, I don't know if I call that profound or is it just like an understandable, tough situation, right? I think that it's not really profound. I don't think it's difficult to understand or like mind-blowing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like every time I see this movie and they're like explaining it, and I'm like, well, I knew that already. I'm like hoping for like some deep dive that I didn't already figure out on my own. Yeah. And like you said, none of it's deep or profound. None of it's like mind blowing. Like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like when you watch Inception.
Okay.
For the first time, and now you're thinking like, were they dreaming? Were they not dreaming?
Yeah.
How deep were they? You know what I mean? Like, this ain't that.
You're right. Right. It's not that. And like I said at the beginning, I still don't knock the writing. Like, I feel like decent story. Okay? Decent story. Boring.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because I know we're saying we don't like the movie while also saying good things about the movie. I think it's like when we did another movie, we talked about all the bad things about it, but it was like, but we liked it.
Yeah.
It's... I feel like you can do all of the things correctly, but you didn't entertain me while you were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there's not bad writing, it looks great. We didn't talk about how it looked. I thought it looked fantastic. The
Yeah.
CGI aged incredibly well.
Yeah.
It looks good. It's like all of these things, but you failed to keep me interested.
It's just slow moving.
It's very slow.
Very slow.
Very slow.
Yeah. Like you said, before we even get to an interesting part of the language learning stuff, we're an hour into the movie, something like that. You know, and I like language. I learn a lot of language stuff.
Well, I mean, if I'm watching, just think about it. Like, it's like watching a lecture at college. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
And so basically, this was just a movie about them learning the language, and they're the things that they like. Oh my gosh, I figured this out. Just wasn't very like, ooh, ah, they figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then she's got to have stupid arguments with the government. Right, where like she's obviously right, and you gotta talk to some idiot that wants to like escalate things for no reason.
Yeah, well, it's like when she first makes that first breakthrough, and he's like criticizing her for what she did, and I was like, no one else has gotten anything out of these things.
Yeah,
she decides to write something down, and now you're questioning her why she's writing things down.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be slow? I don't know.
No, like what are you talking about? You guys tossing math problems and yelling at them hasn't been working. Right? She tried it and it worked. And then you're saying, well, they're learning elementary words. And I'm like, that's how you learn a language.
Yeah, I that scene when he said, "Oh, these are elementary words. Wouldn't we want to work on stuff?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Do you teach a 5-year-old, super long words, or do you teach them this and that?"
Well, that's how you learn a language now, right? When you decide like, oh, I'm going to learn Spanish or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They start you off with apple.
Yeah, I learned the elementary words because that's where I have to start. I can't start with big words.
Yeah, that's how and then you graduate up, right? Right, you don't start with 13-letter words.
Yeah.
I didn't like how often do you use words like that anyways?
Right. Yeah, the elementary words are more important, which she had to break down to him.
Just silly.
Yeah.
Just really silly. Like, not a single smart person in that crew.
Yeah. That, and then her lying about the Aboriginals and kangaroo.
That was funny. Because I was like, is that true?
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, I'm like, is that true? Because it's believable. But then she was like, but that's the point.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't just go, I think they were talking about, was that the weapon thing? Where it was like, okay, they could mean tool, they could mean anything, right? And it's true, sometimes translations
get lost because the way they talked, it wasn't like full sentence. So he said, offer a weapon. And now they're like, are we giving them a weapon? Are they going to threaten us with a weapon? And it turns out they were giving the people the weapon of their language to help them in the future. Mm-hmm. But initially, all they got was offer a weapon. And she's like, that can mean a whole lot of things.
Yes, you can't just jump to conclusions.
Yeah, which was what China and they was all like, oh, they said weapon, because then it's like we're 1 of 12. Which says to me, then maybe we should figure out what the other 12 had told the other countries.
Right, that whole 1 of 12 thing, and then they're all separating, and I'm like, I think we should figure out what everybody's saying.
Yeah, that was the one time where I was like, hey, that's the point where it says we should communicate, and at that point they decided we will not communicate. Which was just silly.
Yeah.
Just didn't make. I'm like, you're doing the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing right now, and it was so obvious. But yeah.
Yeah. So, you're right. I do want to see like, okay, so what were the aliens fighting, and why did the humans have to help them?
Exactly. Like why? Like what is so big that you would need the Earth of all places is the ones that can help you.
We did say in 3,000 years. So maybe we're at Star Trek level by this point, right?
Star Trek like that, I mean, besides them being able to go in space, what else do they do?
Oh, the whole thing is unified. It's like a whole socialist society in Star Trek.
In space?
Yeah.
Does people still live on Earth in Star Trek?
Yeah.
I know all the other planets, but Earth is also kicking in and doing things.
Yeah, if you watch remember we watched the newer ones?
Mm-hmm. We only watched the one though.
Yeah, but I think the archive that he was on, or the training he went through, was on Earth. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. All right. So everyone's advanced, but just like you ever see like those old episodes of Star Trek, they're never on Earth.
Well, yeah.
They're always
Also,
on
they
like.
don't look that advanced.
Well, it might not help that it started in 1950,
60, I think 60.
And you know the 80s weren't exactly advanced in TV stuff. Yeah. So.
But I don't know. Like, if you say 3,000 years, I expect us to be well more advanced in 3,000 years. If we learn to work together, we might not.
I don't care. I'll be dead.
No, that's true. That's true.
I will be dead. So.
I won't see 3,000 years from now.
No. But I don't know. It might have helped though to see like exactly what kind of disaster is so important that you had to come down here.
Yeah.
And teach us something.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's I think that's it. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about the movie.
I guess one thing we didn't really talk about. We talked about how the governments wanted to stop working together, but we didn't talk about what she did to get them.
Okay. Yeah, well, okay, so because she learned the language, she, in the future, got the phone number of the Chinese general and what to say to him. And so she remembered that information from the future, which, can be a little mind twisty. But she got the information in the future, then in the past, used that information to call him and stop him from attacking the aliens.
Yes.
Which is why I questioned at first, because I'm like, the general came up to her and was like, I'm pretty sure you need this. So I'm like, did she tell him later on, or I don't know.
I'm thinking she can use it to manipulate. So maybe this is how her mind works. So it's not really the general actually telling her.
Oh, she's remembering.
Yeah, like
what? So she's changing it technically.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a dream. You know how someone tells you something and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Okay, so she's thinking. All right, now we're getting into this. She's manipulating the future technically.
I think so, yes.
Okay. To an extent. So that conversation will happen in the future. But it's funny because future her, because obviously she didn't call at first.
Right.
Because future her's like,
what are you talking about?
I didn't call you, right? Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, you did. And then she's like, oh, I did call you. And so it's like it's all happening together. Mm-hmm. That was interesting. I did like that part. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So I guess now we can move to random movie facts.
Random movie facts. Oh, did someone translate the Chinese that she said to him?
Yes.
What she said to him?
In war, there are no winners, only widows.
Okay, it sounded like she said a lot more than that.
It did, but I don't speak Chinese, so I was like, that felt like a whole paragraph, and that for one sentence. But
okay,
apparently, according to the internet, someone who speaks Mandarin can certainly tell me more. But that is what I got.
So in war, there are a couple of channels that will I've seen where they're Chinese native speakers, and they kind of grade the Chinese that you see in different TV shows and movies. So maybe they did this one.
Oh, I mean that's a lot of movie to go through for 5 seconds of Chinese.
Line. Usually they only watch the line.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, maybe they did. Okay. So this was based off of a novella.
Okay.
Called The Story of Your Life.
Makes more sense.
They were going to title the movie that. The test audience did not like the title.
I'm gonna weigh in here and would say I think the story of the story of what?
Of your life.
So the story of your life obviously is her talking to her daughter, probably. Makes more sense.
Agreed.
Than Arrival. Arrival makes the movie seem like a sci-fi movie, and I'm gonna go on a limb here, guys. This is, yes, it's technically sci-fi, but the way this movie is written, this is not a sci-fi movie. This is not, right? It's about Amy. Okay.
You just made a lot of people angry.
All right.
I'm sorry, but continue your thoughts.
I mean, you can make movies. You can do more than one genre, right? Like, you can make an action sci-fi movie, or you can make a romance sci-fi movie, right? And I feel like going Arrival makes this feel like First Contact, more of a sci-fi that you're used to, Star Trek, something like that, where this is not that.
Agreed. I gotta say, the first time I seen this movie, I was expecting a alien invasion movie, which might have been why I hated it more the first time, because I was just like, oh, these aliens don't invade? Like
Okay.
So yeah, Arrival makes it seem like it's something else.
Yes. So I think that test audience is wrong. Who are you grabbing for your test audiences, by the way?
Who agrees to be in test audience? Do you get paid for this?
Probably.
No, I mean, I'll do it if I get paid.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to get better test audiences. Because I'm just saying, like, I think that title makes a whole difference.
It does. But maybe it gives too much away.
Maybe. Well, maybe. I don't know. I still think the twist would still be a twist. Nobody's going to just outright figure that out.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently, do not know how true this is. I'm going to put the giant do not know how true this is.
All right. Take this with a large grain of salt.
That the alien language inspired a breakthrough in artificial intelligence. That apparently a Google researchers used this because it's the AI is able to process all inputs simultaneously, and they also use that in order to develop the AI as we know it today, because it's able to do all, because we think things in a linear motion, and as we're talking about, everything here is like everything is happening all at once.
Okay, I'm willing to believe that. Okay, and only because of this. So I don't want it to be like, oh, the alien language itself. I believe that this AI programmer watched this movie and a light bulb clicked in his head. Like, why are we doing this linearly when the computer can process multiple things at one time? Agreed. I believe that. That seems very believable. Yes. But still, grain of salt, maybe it's not true.
I don't know. It's not like I asked a guy from Google, so yeah. Okay. So the reason the ships never touch the ground is because
it would destroy the fabric of time.
No, they wanted the people from Earth to contact them. The whole thing is about communication.
Okay.
So they were there waiting for the people to contact them, right? They had to go in. You know what I mean? It's like they could have started doing those little inky circle things from the very beginning.
Yeah, true. And yeah, they stayed behind the glass. I did think that watching this, that this was all set up. Because I'm like, why would they stay behind the glass and all this? And, they wait for their time for them to have their sessions, which I don't get the short sessions. Like, what was...
I thought it had something to do with the atmosphere and oxygen, so they only had a certain amount of time. So then they had to leave because
they said there was no radiation.
No, I think it was... I said atmosphere and oxygen. So it's like because remember the guy was saying like it doesn't take that long to regenerate oxygen, and he said maybe it did because of their atmosphere. That was at the very beginning.
Okay.
So I think that's why they only had that window.
Okay.
And then like they get the warning like, okay, in 15 minutes it'll be safe to go in again.
Okay.
Something like that. Apparently in the Italian version of the movie, Abbott and Costello, those were the name of the aliens. We did not mention that.
Okay.
We're called Tom and Jerry because Abbott and Costello is not well known there. Not surprising. Honestly, I would have went with Tom and Jerry. That's more interesting.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, I know who Tom and Jerry is.
I think the movie's a bit more serious than that.
I would have been entertained by aliens named Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
Okay, so some differences between this and the book. Ian's name is Gary. Don't care that they changed his name.
Okay. And
he has a bigger role in figuring out the language than he does. Like in this movie, it's just Amy Adams, really.
Yeah, that's true. Which I figured he would, right? He's a mathematician.
Something like that. Something sure. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. The daughter does not have a name in the book. Not important.
Interesting they made it Hannah.
Right.
I guess that works with the full circle thing.
Yeah. Colonel Weber, who's played by Forrest Whitaker, does not have that big of a role in the story. Not important. And so in the book, they never really said that Gary was the father of the daughter. It was just implied that he was. So I think that goes back to my theory. The father must be somebody else.
Oh, okay. And the person still gets mad.
True. That is true. It doesn't really change anything. But Louise does get remarried, but then he ends up leaving her too. I think something about knowing the future, it just kind of messes with relationships.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. Again, I think my brain would explode. I can't know everything all at once.
Yeah. So in the book, she does know. Like in the movie, you see snippets, and that's her getting these snippets of the future.
Yes.
In the book, she gets everything all at once, and there's really anything she can do about it. And here, she gets them in pieces.
Yeah, until the end, I think.
Yeah, and so then she can react to the pieces that she's already gotten. Another important thing, which I think does change a lot, is Hannah dies at the age of 25 in a mountain climbing accident instead of an illness as a child.
Okay, yeah, that's a big difference. Also, I would just I would turn her away from mountains.
Exactly.
For my entire life.
Exactly.
Mountains are horrible and dangerous, and you should never go on them.
Right, because if you die in a mountain climbing accident, I can be like, maybe you shouldn't go climb. You know what I mean? Like, I can talk you out of it.
Yeah.
There's something you could do to intervene in that so it doesn't happen. But if she gets sick and die, there's nothing you can do with that.
And and if you don't come up with a cure within, see, what would be interesting if the cure was made within Louise's lifetime, because then even if it's after her daughter died, she could find that information and help science find the cure before her daughter dies.
But that would be hard to do. Like, you figured cures take years, and it was a rare disease that she had, right?
Well, I mean, she got until she dies. Hopefully that's really late.
12 years?
No, until Louise dies.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, everything's all at once. I keep saying this. It's like the movie, everything all at
once. Yeah. So she could take the time to figure it out, and then by the time her daughter is old enough to get sick, she has to. Yeah, but see, the thing is, Louise is not a doctor or a scientist.
True, she's not.
And then maybe I really feel like she was content with not interfering.
Yeah, I think she's just leaving time as it is.
I would interfere.
There's no way I don't interfere.
Yeah.
I'll interfere on small things. It's probably very irresponsible.
Probably. Okay, so that was my last movie fact. I have one nitpick that I don't think we covered.
Okay.
And I didn't write it down. 1 second. Okay, so when they land, and the general or whatever, yeah, he's a general, right? Fortress Whitaker? Or is he a colonel?
I don't know.
He's a colonel. He comes in and plays her a tape and was like, what are they saying? And I'm like, how's she supposed to translate a language that doesn't exist from an audio tape? She's like, well, I have to be there. I got to interact with them. He's like, you didn't have to do that when you were like Farsi. And I was like, because Farsi's a language.
Yeah. What she said, she already knew.
Yeah, it's a language she already knew. So she doesn't need to be there because she knows the language. She can hear it and translate it. I can't translate a language I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't know, you're learning, you need context, you need body language, all of that, which is why she wants to be there.
That's why we learn with pictures.
Yes.
Just silly. Just the government was just so silly.
I mean, that's what they were doing when they were there. Like when Ian walks was a scene, and so Ian walked across the little area to kind of so they can figure out the same word for walking or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why you got to be there.
Yeah, that's why it makes sense. Because even if I didn't understand what you said, is like oh, by your movements, by your actions, like I can infer what this means. It's kind of like when you go someplace internationally and then they just show you pictures of things. Yeah. Like, I might not speak French, but I know that means do not enter.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have signs.
Yeah. You know? Right? This is why we use pictures for things. Because you need to, just silly. But that was my only nitpick.
Okay. All right. So then we're ready to rate it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give this a low watch while folding clothes. Just because, as we mentioned throughout this video, there were obviously good aspects of the writing, of the filming and things like that, it's just taken way down for me because it is a slog to watch. My gosh. Um, and I don't know, Amy Adams is speaking in this same voice throughout the whole movie. And the movie's dark. Was the movie dark for you? It was super dark.
It was dark on purpose. Apparently, they wanted to go with the atmosphere of a rainy Tuesday morning.
Well, I can't see. My eyes are straining.
I was like, you picked a miserable day to go with your movie theme? That was done on purpose.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying. So, for that, it gets reduced. I can't bring myself to say, like, oh, terrible movie. No, I don't think so. So, Watch While Folding Clothes, for those of you who don't know, that is a 3 out of 5 or 6 to 7 out of 10.
Agreed. I feel like this movie is highly overrated. And I know people are going to come at us because the last comment I read where a guy was like, he didn't like it. They just said you're stupid and you didn't understand the movie.
If you heard our whole podcast, you know we understand the movie, but whatever.
So I'm just I don't know. I'm gonna be stupid and I'm brainless. I didn't understand the movie because I didn't like it.
Fair enough.
It's gonna be a watch on phone and close. Like, I cannot recommend this movie to anyone.
No, I definitely won't watch this again.
No, although this will be my second time.
Yes, it was my second time watching it, and hopefully the last.
Yeah,
I can't see myself sitting down and going like, you know what I should watch? Arrival. You know?
Yeah. Agreed.
No, even when I'm in a mood of watching, like, oh, I want to watch a profile movie or something like that, or like I mentioned in the beginning of this, I'd probably rather watch a 30-minute YouTube video on how we could possibly communicate with aliens, and I would have found it interesting.
Not quite sure I will watch that.
I would.
But I definitely could have spent 120 minutes doing something else.
Very true. So that's a Watch While Folding Clothes from us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll disagree. If you do, comment below and tell us how stupid we are. Other than that, we will catch you in the next video.